Alrighty, somebody give me a thumbs if they can see the screen share. Looks good to me. Perfect. Well, welcome everybody. Finally we got started. It's so great to have you all on the call tonight, and we are going to attempt to record this, so hopefully that has worked. My name is Mark Hare. I'm a National Marketing Director with the Juice Plus Company. I've been with the company some 27 years now, and we're always excited to go to a conference. In fact, this year in Indianapolis, on the Saturday, was my 106th day at a conference in the 27 years I've been with the company. So that's certainly a milestone for us. But like so many of you, the fall conference, we're never really sure about what it's going to be like. The spring conference is always more busy. And certainly when we heard we were going to Indianapolis, we weren't really sure what to expect. Many people perhaps have never even been to Indianapolis. That certainly was the case with us. It was, hard to get to maybe perhaps, and people didn't think there was much there to go and see. But I have to say that it was above all expectations. First of all, when we landed at the beautiful, stunning airport there, which you can see the picture of, probably the most spacious, well-lit, comfortable, non-crowded airport I've ever visited. And as we left the airport, you could see all these fields of solar panels all the way around the airport, which power the airport. So that kind of got your mind in the right frame, if you like, to realize that this was something different. And it turned out to be that. On the left, you can see the Marriott, which was the JW Marriott, which is the largest one in the world with 1,005 rooms. And that was just one of the many hotels that we were using. And really, it just got better and better. The convention center is the largest one in North America, very clean, very efficient. And it really just got us in the right place. And we realized that this was going to be something special, which it actually turned out to be. So tonight on this wrap-up, many of us have done wrap-ups in homes over the years.
That's all I'm asking.
Still continues. The purpose of tonight, though, is really to do something a little bit different. Obviously, we want to recognize those who need recognizing and all the achievements that have happened since the last conference back in April. But we wanted to give you some updates, and there's more updates than we've ever had before. Not that they'll take a lot of time, but there's so many things going on with the Juice Plus company now. I really feel confident that they're getting their act together, which is really exciting. Of course, we've got some information on the new product, and we'll touch briefly on the future Big Rock events. So this is very, very exciting. But of course, from some of you on the call, or some of you that might listen to the recording, you'll be well aware that, you might be new, and you might be well aware of what our business is about, but sometimes people take a while to actually sort of get in the groove of what we actually do. And of course, I always touch on the features of the virtual franchise. We've always been doing this for 27 years. We've got to keep learning it. The benefits are you get to be your own boss. You're in a non-competitive environment, unlike other direct sales and other type of company business out there. There is absolutely no income or glass ceiling. You get to choose when you want to work, where you want to work, with whom you want to work, and you get to decide what you're worth. And that's what I was introduced to some 27 years ago after spending 12 years in the British military. I certainly didn't want to work for anybody else. And this is what appealed to me, was that you could have freedom of time and freedom of money. And that's something that certainly is missing out in the workforce today. There's a huge corporate benefits package, which more and more of the team here are getting to enjoy over time, which is great. You get the security of residual income. What does that mean? If you do the job right once and do it multiple times, then what happens is that you get paid over and over again, and that is residual income. Just got a message from Yvonne there, that's okay. So why wouldn't somebody get started now? I mean, it just makes sense to do so. And here's the key with our business. You build it. And what that means is you share information about the product, you share information about the business, and you attend and bring people to events. That's so, so important. And if you keep doing those things, then what happens is the company does everything else. They process the orders for you. They ship directly to your customer. They collect the money from your customer and even allow them to pay monthly for it, which is wonderful. And then they pay you and your team. And of course, they manage all your data. And that basically means that you're just free to share and inspire other people. Just give me a moment here, because there's obviously some people here that we need to mute. If you are not aware, if you could perhaps mute yourself. I'm unable to do so at the moment. We've got some people here who have definitely not muted themselves. That would be a great help if you could. trying to see if I can do it from my end, which I can't because it's being recorded. Thanks, guys. Just be aware if you're not muted. First time at conference. Conference is always about, new people going to check out and get the big picture. And I know I've missed about 7 or 8 people off of this slide because we just didn't get a chance to take the pictures. But lots of new people went to conference, which is really, really cool. So it is about the new people. And when you see conference through their eyes, that's what makes it really, really exciting. And we have lots of recognition. The big position that everybody wants to get to very, very quickly is sales coordinator. And I think what's important is that if you can all actually take a peek there at who is on the faces there, because these are all people, I'm just double checking the muting here. These are all people that basically have been promoted to the position of sales coordinator since the last conference. And I know there are some people reaching sales coordinator in the month of October. We haven't included them in there. But what's so important to see is within our organization and team, these are all the happy, smiley faces. And it's good to see there's about 6 guys on there, which is wonderful. Well done, guys. And it's great to see people from all different backgrounds, all different ages, all different areas, majority of which are in Western Canada. But it's always super to see these new promotions. And it definitely illustrates right there that things are going on. And of course, people want to move to the next position in our marketing plan, which is that of senior sales coordinator. And we had a bunch since the last conference, a few of which got to walk the stage. And remember, it's important to understand that fast tracking to senior sales coordinator is just over 8,000 PVC in 1 calendar month, or maybe 28,000 within a 3-month period. But it's very exciting when people reach these positions, because now you're starting to be in the first positions of leadership where the company actually starts to give you an expense account, for example, a Christmas bonus. You get a rebate towards your first boot camp. So there's lots of cool things on reaching this position. And there are people that you can see there on the page that since April reached the position of senior sales coordinator in a very quick time since joining the business, right the way through to people who've been there with us for a number of years. And it was just wonderful, especially kudos to see Fran Hilton walk across the stage after a number of years with us. She got herself down to conference, and it was just a lot of tears when we see some of these people walk the stage. So it was absolutely wonderful, and congratulations to all of you. Of course, moving through the plan there, we had a couple of new qualifying national marketing directors in the team, which is always good to see. And as the name indicates, you're in that qualifying period towards getting to national marketing director. And this is no mean achievement because it's some 20,000 points in a calendar month. So it's very, very exciting. I know that we'll hopefully see Amanda walk the stage at the next conference. She wasn't down in Indianapolis, but Jolynn was, and we were so proud to see Jolynn walk across the stage, and there was a lot of tears. And that's when it's really exciting for us, and for those of you who are leaders on the call that have been around for a few years, there's nothing better than watching somebody walk the stage. In fact, I would say it's more impactful to see people in your team walk the stage than it is when you did it yourself. And I think some of you realize that and maybe give a thumbs up to that effect. So congratulations to you two ladies, and I know there's many more following you. And then, of course, the top position is National Marketing Director. We had one person on the team, in fact, in Canada, reach the position of National Marketing Director during the summer, and that was Lauren Lungal from Alberta and from Tofield. And she did an amazing feat throughout the summer. Kudos to her. She was not able to be in Indianapolis because she's just about to have her second child. So she actually completed NMD volume in the last few months of her pregnancy. So congratulations in anticipation to the additions to Lauren's family. But what was fantastic was that in Indianapolis at the Canadian reception, Lauren did come on Facebook Live, and they actually put it up on the big screen, and she was able to say thanks and give a little bit of a background and say hello to everybody at the reception, and then also see everybody in return. So that was absolutely wonderful. And of course, we'll all look forward to hearing her full amazing story at the Phoenix convention next spring, which will be wonderful. So congratulations to Lauren. So what most of you want to know about is what's new. Now, normally we have lots of people get involved in doing these wrap-ups. I'm afraid you're going to have to just listen to me here, because the main important thing was to get this thing put together as quick as possible, because there were so many little new bits going on that really we wanted you to sort of hear about everything in the proper context, rather than hearing it on Facebook and all the other things over a period of time. because now, of course, everyone gets to see things so quickly. So I'm going to race through some of these things, and some of the parts I can highlight what's important to you now, what affects us in Canada right away, and put it all in perspective. So one of the most exciting things that I believe, in my opinion, that we've got is the whole new method by which the communication between the corporate company, the Juice Plus company, and us as distributors in the field is going to dramatically improve. It is a community. That's really what it is all about. It is a family. It's not just a job, and I think most of you have heard about that. And there's many things that are starting to happen. Now, the first one I'm going to touch on, it's very important that you update the email that the corporate head office has for you on file. There's many different reasons, but this is one of the most important ones now. So update that. And I know a lot of people don't use email today, but it is important in some aspects because it's the best way of communicating directly when it's only private to you. And one of the things that's happening is something new called Juice Plus Insights. And what's going to happen is there is going to be a weekly email on Tuesdays is going to come from juiceplusinfo@e.juiceplus.com to your email address. So you want to be checking out on that. And this is going to be taking place in Canada eventually. The switch hasn't gone yet, but it will be happening soon. And what's going to happen on that communication is it's going to give you updates or give you live links to a website that is going to keep you informed with new and special featured resources. And on the right-hand side of the page there, you can see what is the front cover page of a new website, which is Juice Plus Insights. And what you can do is you can scroll through that page, and it is a wealth of information. And right now, there are many, many videos on there that you probably haven't seen before, which we'll talk about today. New videos to do with the omegas, teaser videos, new videos to do with when you first get started. It's basically 8 rules, if you like, of running your franchise that every new distributor will get. The Indianapolis live videos, the videos for the future conferences, many different videos are on there, along with other important updates. Also, there's going to be increased VOXer communication with the N&Ds in the field and the 100 Club representatives, so that there's a sort of a filtering down of some other special information as it comes. So that website, Juice Plus Insights, is www.juiceplusinsights.com. And I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea of some of the things that are on there, but after this call, you perhaps want to go and look through it because the videos are incredible. And I think this is a huge tool that's going to help us all. So to give you an example, one of the pages there looks like this, and it's an update, for example, of what happened with hurricane, and I don't know who's drawing all over my screen there, but it's not me. It's an indication of what's going on with the hurricane that happened recently, talking about the Juice Plus Foundation and how money from that has been used to help different institutions around the world and the hurricane. Updates on what's going on with the omegas. So very, very exciting stuff is happening there. Another example there is it gives you the dates of the upcoming conferences, which I think is very, very exciting. So you can get to see all the conferences that are coming in the future. So this Juice Plus Insights really is quite amazing and is going to be very, very cool. I'm going to see if I can get rid of this. What's going on? I don't think that was me that put that drawing on there, but let me see if we can get rid of it. There we go. Very interesting, fascinating. Don't know how that happened. The next thing is the healthylivingrevolution.com. Most of you probably heard about that. It's been put together over this last sort of 10 months or so. It's getting better and better. Now, when you go to that healthylivingrevolution.com, it's got a whole new look that has been dramatically improved. And as you scroll down, you can see now there are different sections. You've got the resources, you've got the starting strong, the one simple change, and then, of course, the shred 10. And as you scroll down, you can see this visual that I've got on the screen that highlights all the different parts of those different topics, which is really, really exciting. Now, some of these you've all seen before, but the graphics and the way they interact has just been improved. And in addition to that, some of the features in these areas have had some new tools that have been added. So, for example, in the resource section, and I'm just going to pause just for a second there, because once again, somebody is not muting themselves. Let me just deal with that. Sorry about that, guys. It's so important when we do these calls that people mute themselves. Wonderful. Excellent. So on the left under the resources, there's a couple of new things there. You'll see something called the Freedom Revolution. You'll also see something in Starting Strong, it's called. And I'm just going to touch on a couple of those points. So what they've actually done is they brought out this booklet for the Freedom Revolution, which is kind of, it's ideal as a presentation booklet where you can actually share with somebody about this revolution of healthy living. So it subtly introduces Juice Plus without going all out. It does a little bit about the history of Juice Plus and how it fits into this whole process. But it's a beautiful piece that's been put together, and obviously we're working on bringing it through into Canada as well. So that's really, really cool. Then there's this Starting Strong program that's been added, which obviously is about the family and kids, and there's all sorts of cool things in there. I'm not going to go into it now for the interest in time, but you can go on to thehealthyrevolution.com and you can go and see for yourself, which is really, really exciting. And moving on from there, of course, we have the new product, the Omegas. And it's been an interesting launch. As you know, the whole process started a few months ago. And what the companies had to do is basically go slow in order to go fast. In other words, what we really wanted to do was, get ready, aim, fire, as opposed to firing first and then trying to get ready afterwards. So the process of the unrolling of the Omegas has been a little slower than we perhaps would have liked. But it is now fully up and running in the US and around the rest of the world, where every distributor can order and every distributor can have customers. There's no limitations now, with the exception, of course, of us in Canada, as we all know. The good news is that all the regulation stuff has been done with Health Products Canada, and it is getting ready to unravel, and we will be getting it very soon. It's all being manufactured, the labels are being done, and all the good stuff that we're waiting for is actually unrolling, and we are just waiting very soon. Literally, we're in the countdown of weeks to within the next month, and we will be able to get our Omegas. So we're very, very excited about that, as I'm sure most of you are, and it's going to be amazing. But to go with that, there is a brand new brochure that's come out with it, a trifold brochure. And I know we don't use brochures all the time, but sometimes we need to sit down and actually talk to people face to face and then send them to our electronic resources and the virtual world for them to get more information. But this new brochure is really good because it includes all of the Juice Plus encapsulated products with a little bit further expansion on the new Omegas, which is really, really exciting. And I think they've done a great job there. These brochures are available, obviously, in the States through Juice Plus Promotions. And as with all of the materials, what we're hoping to do is with Formcore in Canada, they will go through the process of manufacturing these. The good thing is with this brochure, there's nothing that's controversial with Health Canada. So it's just a case of sorting out the pricing and the volumes that they need to print on these. But in the meantime, those who went to conference, I'm sure have brought a bunch back, just like we did. But it's a wonderful piece, and I think you'll like it. Which leads us then on to something called bundling. Now, these prices that are on the screen here are obviously in US dollars because we do not have the exact pricing for the Omega here in Canada. But the reason I've put this up on the screen, and it is available on the virtual office if you flick over to the US, is just so that you can understand the concept of what we're saying here. We're not suggesting at this point that on your order forms, you are going to see bundles like this where people can order. And the reason is very simple. If you have someone order the full trio plus the Omegas, for example, and for whatever reason, they run out of one faster than another, or they use one slower than another, it would obviously be not a good idea if they were putting orders on hold, because then it would affect all 4 different products. So I'm sure you understand how that works, because we've had that in the past with, the trios and complete, or the trios and bars and things like that. So you don't necessarily want to have these bundles on the same ARO. But the purpose of this bundle is to illustrate the pricing at the point of sale when you're trying to get somebody to get started on the product in the first place. And some people may go for all 4, some people may go for 3, they may choose the fruit, veggie, and the Omega, they may choose the trio. Whatever it is they choose to do is great, but at least you can see the price points here. So a trio is $71 in the US, and you can see how there's just a small increase that takes up to $103 in the US for all 4. Obviously, we will be a very similar type of balance. And you can see there Omega and Vineyard, for example, together is a little bit less than if somebody actually had the regular trio. So this is just to give you an idea. And obviously, we will have the Canadian prices inserted in this when the time comes. So I hope that appears to be useful. because it certainly opened our eyes and just put everything in perspective. And of course, you all know in sales, which is ultimately what this is, something called the alternative close. If you offer them all four, they're more likely to choose three. And then as they get comfortable, maybe they add something that they're missing later. So it's very powerful, and I think it's going to help us immensely. There are some updates on the website that you may or may not be aware of. Now, this latest update is up and running on the US website. If you go on your own personal Juice Plus website, flip over to the US, you will be able to see this. The Canadian one has not been updated yet, but it will very soon. And that is, if you click on the Buy tab from your personal Juice Plus website, it actually now shows the trio, whereas you may or may not have noticed that up until now it's only showed the red and green, or the fruit and vegetable. So that has now been updated, which I think is very important. Also, on your Juice Plus personal website, and of course the generic one, when you click onto the science and the clinical research, you will see that the little section there in the drop-down box that talks about the clinical research, that has been now updated. There's a sample there on the right, but let me just skip forward. Now, we all know that we're not allowed to make medical claims. We've known that for a long time. However, the science and the proof is there. So what now people can do is they can pick a topic, whether it's heart health or the immune functions, and they can go in and get more information that's directly about those straight from your personal website. Now, what's really cool is that they've changed. If you remember, we used to have the study summary, and this you access from your own virtual office. It's always been that way. And you can click into there under resources, if I recall, and you can then personalize using your own website and your cell phone number or whatever you want to add on there, and print off the research summary, which used to update every, I don't know, 16 months or so. Now they've changed it, and this is what the new one is going to look like. It is not up and running as of today, but the Juice Plus Insights website with the emails that are sent to you, they will tell us the moment that they're up and running, and you will be able to click onto your virtual office, go into the resources, probably in the US one first, and you'll be able to customize and download this new piece, which I think is going to be absolutely wonderful for you just to carry around with you, or have copies of it as graphics on your devices, which will be super. But in addition to that, and this is really amazing, they've now come out with a new quick reference guide. This is actually a book that's about 7 or 8 inches tall. It's a ring binder style. You cannot see on the graphics here. And when you open up the first page of the book, it's got tabs on the right-hand side of the different topics, such as heart function, DNA, immune function, skincare, all of those different things. And you open up the tab and it goes through in detail of all the different studies that are there to reflect those specific topics. So once again, we're not being disease specific personally in our conversations, but the tools are allowing us to focus on that in a much, much stronger way. And again, this is a tool that's designed where you sit across somebody with a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, face to face, belly to belly, building a relationship, and actually share how cool the science and the proof behind Juice Plus is, without having a whole bag full of all the study resumes, which we used to have before. And let's face it, nobody carried them around. So I think this is a game changer. And of course, it certainly puts us way ahead of absolutely everybody else out there in the marketplace. Which then leads us on to another thing. Although this is just a copy of a new study that's come out, we're going to use this to highlight really the philosophies as we move forward. This, of course, is the new study that was done in Birmingham, England. And it was basically a study to show how taking Juice Plus can actually help in the recovery after having a wisdom tooth extraction or removal. Now, when you go to read the extract of this particular study, just like any other study, it's very easy for us to either get bogged down in the technicalities and try and, speak with an expertise that we don't have, or we can bore the pants off somebody by just trying to show them too much information. And here's a perfect example here, which I think is quite funny, where the key findings of this study, as you can read there, is post-operative quality of life tended to be higher in the active compared to the placebo group. Number 2 was reduction in mouth opening 2 days after surgery was 3.1 millimeters smaller, or the mean pain score over the post-operative week was lower. In conclusion, the preoperative supplementation with a fruit and vegetable supplement rich in antioxidant micronutrients may improve post-operative and reduce surgical morbidity in post-operative complications after surgery. What a mouthful, and who on earth is going to show that? Well, the idea now is with the Null tools that you can come along with this attitude. If you take Juice Plus after you've had a wisdom tooth removal, you're going to feel a lot better and won't want to die. You can open your mouth more and complain louder and get more sympathy, and you hurt less, so you have more painkillers left over at the end. In other words, if you take Juice Plus after you've had dental surgery, you're going to be a lot better a lot sooner. And then use that principle to show them the new booklet and tools if they really want to go and see that if the proof is there. It makes it a lot easier, a lot more fun, and a lot simpler, and we don't get, you know, just completely overwhelmed with the technical information. What's also really cool, of course, is many of us know that have been in the Juice Plus business for a while that we lead the field as far as having the support from healthcare professionals. But let's just face it, you know, the most trusted profession out there is probably healthcare professionals. And we used to have all kinds of things in place to try and approach and encourage healthcare professionals to get involved. And now, you know, the game has changed. We've got all the science, we've got the proof, we've got almost 25 years of Juice Plus being in the marketplace with 40 odd or almost 40 and more studies now published in journals. And so now we need to revisit the healthcare professionals. And let's face it, the consumers out there or potential consumers, that's who they feel comfortable talking to. I'm not suggesting here we go out chasing down and knocking on, cold calling on doctors, but it is a simple fact that we need to deal with them because more and more of them are becoming aware of what the Juice Plus product is doing out there. In the past, we used to have the company-sponsored nutraceutical conferences, which they did alongside our main conferences in the fall, and it was fairly popular, and it helped with getting the depth and breadth of some of the healthcare professionals we now have working and backing and supporting the Juice Plus product around the world. But, you know, over the last few years, that's kind of passed away a little bit, and one of the reasons was, amongst several, is that the healthcare professionals that would come to this nutraceutical conference, it kind of clashed with the main conference. And of course, representatives wanted those healthcare professionals to see the bigger picture of the company and the products and all those cool things. So what the company has now started to do, I think this is just the second one this year, they now are running the Nutraceutical and Medicine Conference again. This one took place now on the Thursday prior to the conference, which is the way they're going to do it in the future. And they had just over 500 people attend this one in Indianapolis. And we do have some doctors on the team, including Dr. Stiles, for example, who did go, and it was absolutely excellent, I'm told. And so that is going to be continuing now because, of course, all the new research that we're having and that influence it's going to have around the world. And, of course, now the credits that the healthcare professionals can get towards their education program will be there as well. So that is very exciting. In addition to that, many years ago, we used to have something called the Professional Support Program. Now, the simple fact is that over the last few years, that hasn't been used. And as of today, when you probably remember, distributors did a big survey covering all aspects of our business earlier this year. And what the stats showed that 14% actually used the Professional Support Program. 21% of distributors have used it in the past. 34% have never used it ever. And 31% have never ever heard of it. And it did have some wonderful benefits back in the day when we used it. I know it was part and parcel of us in the early days really starting to get a foothold in the marketplace when we were building. It had some flaws and it had some benefits, but the point is now it has had a complete and utter makeover. It is now called Wellness Plus, and it is a program that's designed really for people, you know, busy people. And it's designed for a way that you can actually help have someone on your team that's a professional or a healthcare professional or anybody with a busy patient or client base to actually get involved in our business because they want to share the information about Juice Plus, but they just don't know how they can fit it in with their busy schedule and how they can actually allow people who have a big circle of influence to get involved and actually share information about the Juice Plus product. So Wellness Plus is the new feature. And as you can see there, there's going to be a wealth of support programs to actually help this be better than it ever was before, where we can learn and improve on how it was operated before. There's going to be a new digital brochure coming out. Again, you will hear about that on the website I was telling you about a little bit before. The new resources are going to be on your virtual office very soon, and a whole bunch of support videos and tools, which I think is going to make this very exciting because the track record now, and don't forget, combined with the whole customer support program, which is completely different from what it used to be before when we used the old professional support program, I see now, with the way that the world is working digitally, with the way the virtual office is evolving, with the way that we have the short videos, the proof, the studies, everything else, this program is going to become very, very powerful. So for the healthcare professionals, they're now going to have a variety of tools. They're going to have this nutraceutical and medical conference, which does not interfere with the regular big conference. They're going to have the Wellness Plus program, and they're going to have much better research tools for the research overview to help them in building their business. Which then leads us on to the customer portal, which is the new program that was launched this year, where your Juice Plus customers have access to their own account. And this would apply for all of us as distributors with all of our customers. And this obviously now is going to be a big ace in the hole for any healthcare professionals and their customers. Now, this customer portal was launched earlier in the year, and it's active. You do it through your own personal Juice Plus website. Back in April, only about 5% of the customer base was actually using this portal. By October in Indianapolis, it got up to 13%. So the goal now is what can be done to improve that accessibility or the number of customers using this customer portal by the time we go to Phoenix next April. So it's important to realize why customers having access to their own account is important. Today, of course, with security and all those different things online and internet security, it's important for customers to have their own autonomy to be able to go in and change their credit card dates, change their credit card numbers, change their addresses, all of those personal things they need to be able to do on a regular basis. Also, what it does is it allows us as representatives to be notified when a customer has made a change. And let's face it, no matter how good, there's some excellent distributors on the call here who've been really good with their customer care over the years. But let's face it, there's a lot of distributors that don't do the call before every box is shipped out to every one of their customers every 4 months, for example. So by having the customers being allowed to deal with their own customer orders, to be in control of when their shipping dates come out, so they're not having it arrive when they're not ready for it, and all those cool things, and you as the distributor being notified when there's a change, that allows you to have them service their own options, and it frees you up to go out and do what we're supposed to be doing, which is sharing information about the product and or the business to people who are not yet on the system. So it's very important that this is done. And it's very important that we figure out how this happens. You see, the customer has to go in to set up their own account. So that means, first of all, they must have the correct email for their own personal email has to be on the customer order form when you first sign them up. So their email needs to be on the system somewhere so that they're able to do this for themselves. So what they will do is they will go in, preferably through your personal Juice Plus website, in order to set up their own account so they can manage their own account in their preferred language. So this is how it works. On your personal Juice Plus website, or the company generic one, it doesn't really matter at this point, at the top there's this new little icon that you can see there. And this is where it's positioned on your Juice Plus website, right at the top there, just to the left of the globe symbol. And I know we don't all pay attention to the symbols, but that's the symbol where you can change the country and the language for your personal website. So they click on that via your website, or it could be through the generic website. It doesn't matter, because if they're already an existing customer, their personal email is obviously linked to their account, which in turn is linked to you as the distributor. From there, what they will do is on the right-hand side there, they will go and create their own account, usually with email at the bottom, although there are other methods you can see through Google or Facebook or whatever. Then on the left, every time they want to go in, or you with your own, you should have set up your own, when they go to the Juice Plus personal website, they can click in themselves and sign in using their email and password that they will have set up themselves. Us as distributors do not have access to their site. It's up to them to do it themselves. Now, if in the old days you've been looking after your customers' follow-up by having your email address on their Juice Plus account, obviously this isn't going to work. And if you've done that and you've set up your Juice Plus account, you're going to see all of the ARO numbers of your customers that you're looking after on their behalf. So they need to update their email address, then they need to go in and set up their own account. Once they've done that, they have access to this kind of information, where they can go in and see exactly what their orders are. They can see exactly when the installments are due. And then each time something happens with their account, they will get notifications from head office what's going on. And that's an indication on the right-hand side there of what that looks like, comes to their device. And you in turn will also get a notification showing exactly what has happened. So this is so, so powerful. And, you know, we're really doing our customers a disservice. And you're also doing your ability to grow your business a disservice if you're wasting time doing all of this when the customers can be doing it for themselves. So the goal is really, the company goal is they want to see 25% of the customer base using the customer portal by Phoenix. My challenge to you guys, why don't we see if we can beat that number in just Canada alone, which I think would be absolutely awesome. Moving on very quickly here, the Children's Health Study. This has turned out to be one of the most amazing retention programs we've ever had. It's been around for the longest and you're all totally aware of it. And the reports that come back and the benefits to families and children has been second to none. So we all know the details on that. So that again has been improved slightly. When you go on your Personal Juice Plus website and you go on to get started, in other words, how to get somebody started on the product, then you will see the tab come down that's on the screen there. And there's a whole bunch of things they can do regarding getting started on the Juice Plus Children's Health Study. On the right-hand side, you can see the little tab there, and that's what it looks like, where they can sign up and can actually convert an order. Let's say somebody's already signed up as a customer. They can actually then convert an order over to the Children's Health Study afterwards and add that child onto the program after they've already placed their own order. So that's kind of cool. And then the actual study, or if you like, the survey that would come through that always used to be paper and we'd have to forward in, that's now going to be available on devices. So it's electronically submitted, which is really cool. Something that is amazing now is the 30-day limit on converting capsule orders to the Children's Health Study has been eliminated. Now, what does that mean? Imagine if you've had a customer now for some 3 or 4 years, and maybe they had a child that was underage and wasn't eligible to start on the Children's Health Study. They can now start on the Children's Health Study at any time. But obviously, they've got to be between the ages of 4 and 21, but it doesn't matter. So if you've got customers that started and they've not got children on the Children's Health Study, it doesn't matter. You can now go through that portal and you can add their children onto the Children's Health Study. So I think that's fantastic. With that, though, of course, there is some increased costs. And we just want to touch on this because this is probably one of the most commonly misunderstood features of the Children's Health Study. There are some payments that the distributor field pay to make this Children's Health Study program work, because obviously the kids are getting the free product. Somebody has to pay for it somehow. Now, those costs have actually gone up. And before you all panic on the page here, it's now $45 per participant instead of $35. And the actual distributor who has the customer, it's gone from 10 to 12. Now, what we need to understand here is it's not what it appears initially. Let's deal with the $45 per participant order. Let's remember that that order is reshipped 3 times a year because obviously there's 3 boxes per year. That $45 is the one-off payment that happens at the beginning of when they start. And that $45 is not by the person, the distributor. It's divided up equally amongst all the commissions that are paid out on that order. Now, I'm not going to go into the details here, but what you need to understand is that there are many commissions that are paid out, as we know, through the marketing plan. There's 5 generations of 5%, there's a 4% promote out bonus, and there's the different levels of the 6, 8, and 8 wholesale commissions that we earn, in other words, a total of 22%. These are all commissions that are paid out on every single order. What happens is the computer works out all of the people in the organization in the upline of that customer's order, and that $45 is divided up equally amongst all of those commissions that are actually paid out, and then divided up out over 12 months, so they're paid each month as the installments are made. So it actually ends up being pennies per distributor. So it's not you paying $45, so please understand that. Unless, of course, well, it's not possible for you to be paying all of it, because even if you place the order as a sales coordinator, you're still not earning the promote out bonus and the 5 generations of 5% above you. So no one distributor is ever paying that $45, if that makes any sense. If anybody has any questions, private messages or perhaps email us and then I can send you information back. But I would suggest just don't get caught up in all of this. It's been like it forever and it's not an issue, and it's such a tiny amount of money for what we get for allowing the families to have free products, and of course the retention that this has given our businesses, all our businesses, for many, many years. So moving on to the Tower Garden. This is so, so exciting. I know we're heading into the winter months here, but the Tower Garden, you know, I would suggest is perhaps getting a little higher than the 10% of sales that we thought it would be when it started 3 years ago. And we're moving into the winter seasons here now, and the company just keeps coming out with better things. And some of you may already know now, you know, this modern, cool-looking Tower Garden has now got the latest edition, and it's the new LED grow lights. Now, this is so, so cool because these are coming soon, and we will have them here in Canada around the same time as the US, because the Canadian head office does not carry tons of inventory of the lighting systems, so it'll just be a natural progression. But what's really cool about these LED lights is, first of all, they're LED, don't use the same power. They have the full spectrum of light that's required, which is really cool. So these are very high-tech lights. But you probably noticed that the support system comes from the top of the Tower Garden. These are actually these kind of bendy snake-type tubes that you get, you know, for torches and for flashlights and things that you can get for supporting your phone on a desk and all those kind of cool things. So those bendy kind of snake things, what that means is that you can literally individually lift up each of these LED lights and maybe make them horizontal so that you can clean your tower or harvest the produce or just lift them out the way. You can alter the height of them by pulling them up or down or changing the shape of them. You can make some of them stick out further if you've got, you know, produce that's growing further out of the tower than other pieces. So you can adjust these all around the tower as you like. There's only 6 pieces in this as opposed to the 20-odd plus pieces that were in the old tower lights with the cage. Obviously, you don't need the cage here. And this fits on the very top of the tower above the shower piece that's on there. And you can probably notice the little round dial on the top. That's the actual timer built into this piece on the top of the tower. So very, very cool. And I just think this just fits in very nicely with how cutting edge and leading we are. But it gets better than that. Most of us are aware of the extension pieces that you can get, that you can put on the tower to add more pots on your tower. And those are still available. But in addition to that, we can now have the facility to grow microgreens on the top of your tower. And you can see quite clearly, it's very easy to explain there. So this might be something, some herbs, things like that you want to grow. Or it might be produce that you want to grow that you're harvesting very rapidly. For example, some lettuces as an example. And it's really cool because then you harvest those lettuces for a period of time and then you just take them out and completely remove and put new ones in. Now you can probably notice the square pots there. They've got a little bar in there, and that is so that you can just put the rock wool in without having to use the baskets. Now the baskets are needed for the more hardy plants that we use that are going to grow for longer with more substantial roots. But obviously these microgreens that you're going to harvest very quickly, there's no requirement, so you can just pop them in without actually using the baskets. And again, these will be coming around the same time towards the end of this year, ready for January. So I think this is super, super exciting, and I know we'll certainly be using them. And once again, I just think it shows we're well ahead of the game. And there's a nice, beautiful picture just to give you an example of what it actually looks like. And I just think that's just fabulous. And I'm sure through Facebook, you're seeing many more pictures come down through the posts. So then sort of pushing through to what else went on at the conference. Obviously, our business is about having lots of fun. Our business is about, you know, the community and all the cool things that we do. And the company just keeps stepping it up. Obviously, in the fall, we have the Elton Awards. That's where if you're 12 club and above, you get to go to a fancy dinner, dress up nice, and they just keep improving it and getting it bigger and bigger and more exciting. And then now the party on the Saturday night is becoming even bigger and more valuable than ever. And I often think it's sad that some of the US distributors, you know, they leave at noon on the Saturday and they just drive home because they can drive 3 or 4 hours to conference, depending on where they live. But they really miss out on the part of the whole weekend that now the company is investing in hugely. And why do they do that? Because they realize it's about the culture, it's about the fun, and the party they put on is just incredible. So just a couple of pictures that we put in there. We had a good showing within our team, and I know there was a few others there that got to go to the Eltons and dress up, and the black tie event. And I know right away I can see that Teresa Fisher's not in these pictures. We were so busy having a good time, it was tough to get all the pictures there. But they really stepped out. They had a theme that was second to none with very, very cool things. That picture on the left, by the way, is a sort of an oversized, like, human bird cage that this lady in this beautiful dress was pushing around, and it had the appetizers on those plates going around the area where we were all getting appetizers. Just quite bizarre. And then they had, obviously, it was a circus theme with all kinds of Cirque du Soleil type acts, which was wonderful. And the place setting was second to none. Some of you have been to the Eltons before, but if you haven't, all I can tell you is they really know how to throw a party and how to pamper you. Excellent food, and it's just an amazing night. And personally, we enjoyed the entertainment this time because I don't know if you watch America's Got Talent, but one of the young ladies, who was 15 at the time, the last season, she was one of the guest entertainers there, as you can see from the picture. So world-class entertainment, a lot of fun. And then, as I mentioned before, the Saturday parties just keep getting better and better. This is one of many shots of just what it looked like in the big hall there with the party. And it really is cool. And now they're adding lots of themes. Everybody likes a theme to a party. And I have to say, although we didn't have the massive contingent that comes from Canada that they do to the spring party, those who did really made the effort to dress up. And I just felt we had to show you what it was all about. It was the sort of the circus theme, and these guys all dressed up as mimes, and there was lots of other costumes, which was really, really exciting. So well done to you guys who all made the effort to dress up, and it really was a phenomenal evening. And I would encourage you all, when you go to conference, to not miss the big party. I think it is now becoming the highlight of the event. And let's face it, everybody loves a party, and everybody remembers the party when they go home. They might not remember all the details. Always remember, in our business, it's the music, not the words, right? The music, not the words. Sell the sizzle, not the steak, and parties are always the sizzle. Which, leading on from there, brings us on to the upcoming events. And most of you are aware of the amazing Banff Beavertail Boot Camp that we do every spring. So here is the advance warning to save the date, March the 9th to the 11th. And what's really cool is we're leading with the party here. You may or may not remember or realize that next year is the 25th anniversary of the Juice Plus product. The company's 40 years old, but Juice Plus came out back in 1993. So, 25 years is a silver anniversary. So what better theme to have than a silver party? So whether it's a silver outfit, silver wig, silver eyeliner, silver nails, silver gloves, silver boots, come dressed as a spaceman if you want. But you decide what you want to do to have some fun on the silver party. We've got some great things in the pipeline for this to make it very, very memorable. But obviously, it's the Beavertail Boot Camp. We've got some amazing speakers lined up. In no particular order, we have Tim Blank, who most of you know is the guy who invented the Tower Garden. And his talk at conference was amazing. And he's going to bring us some really cool insights, bearing in mind this is in the spring. So he's going to be a great addition to the lineup. The corporate staff all want to be there. They may not all be speaking, but Ron Watkins will be there. Lee Haddad's going to be there. Stephen Millman from head office is going to be there. Some of the top speakers we've got is Dr. Jan Roberto, who is an excellent individual and healthcare professional. Many of you know we've got Katie Ravey, who at one point was leading the charge in the UK. She's going to be with us, along with Luke Wren, her now husband, who is really big into the Tony Robbins and actually works with the Tony Robbins establishment. So lots of good motivational stuff there. And we've got a number of surprises with some very special national marketing directors coming along because everybody wants to come to Banff. So save the date, and I can assure you that all of you on the call here will have the opportunity to save some money and get yourself booked in the next very short period of time before Christmas. And you want to take advantage of that to save the money and then be able to be booked and get your room reservations in with the codes which we'll send to you. It is going to sell out. It's going to be the biggest one we've ever had. We are making it bigger, and you don't want to miss it. It's going to be awesome. And of course, we have lots of events building up into the Beavertail Boot Camp. There's an example here. Obviously, we've got many of you know we've got the regional in Edmonton taking place in a week's time. But what's key, there's not room to show all the events here, but on the left, you can see the calendar there. This is sent out by email. Remember, I mentioned the emails earlier on this call. The email direct from the Canadian head office, and every week it comes out as an update in the newsletter. And at the bottom of that, it has the calendar of the events that are coming up. And you can see there's events, in Regina, in Winnipeg, in Saskatoon. And what you can do is you can click on those particular events and get the flyers like the ones you can see there on the right for Edmonton. So this is, yes, you can get them, you know, through social media, but the difference with these ones, when you click on them, they're PDF files where you can go and customize and add your contact details on them. This is where you can get them from. So please try and encourage your team to use that newsletter when it comes out. And again, they've got to have the correct email on the system. So those events are going to be awesome. We will be there in Edmonton next week. We, in addition to Alyssa Harriman, and most of you know how wonderful she is, we've got the one and only Christy Lockhart's coming all the way there. Amazing story she has. She'll be there as well. Myself and Yvonne will be there, and we have some other surprises in line too. So it's going to be a great event in Edmonton next week. And Alyssa will be speaking, of course, in Calgary and Camrose leading into that event, which then leads us after Banff through into the Phoenix Conference. And as we all know, conferences are important. We all love to go to the Phoenix Conference in the spring. It's nice to get the warmth. And I have to say that, you know, you've heard this many times before. You don't have to go to conference to be successful. But all of the successful distributors are always at conference. Now, success is different for everybody. But if you seriously want to build a business that allows you to do what you want, where you want, when you want, which means you've got to revisit your whys, then conference is so important to be there. And so we're hoping that you can get yourself booked. I did put on the team page the hotel room booking forms, and there's also a link there that Michael put on, a live link where you can go online and do it, which is really cool. But get your rooms booked as soon as possible. And remember, if you reach National Marketing Director before Phoenix, you get to go to the Camelback 39 Club Retreat for the first time, which is our favorite resort in all the resorts we've ever gone to. We love going to the Camelback prior to conference. But as I said, conference is important. I cannot stress how important it is to make your business successful. And I'm going to show you something here which is important, because at conference you really get to see the big picture. You really get to understand what the company is all about, because it is a culture. Most of you know, or you've heard about the Juice Plus Foundation. And we all contribute. In fact, 98% of distributors through your paycheck contributes just a tiny amount a month, and it's all based on your position in the company, to the Juice Plus Foundation to do amazing things. Boys and Girls Clubs of America, Memphis St. Jude's Hospital, for example. Those are just some of the things that we do. Most of you heard about the terrible, terrible hurricane that happened just literally weeks and weeks ago, and how it totally wiped out Puerto Rico. Well, there's two important messages here, and you only learn this from conference when you're actually there and see the impact and see it for real. One of the things that the Juice Plus Foundation has done has helped all those people that were literally devastated in Puerto Rico, and they've supplied hundreds and thousands of meals in the form of Complete in Puerto Rico. But what's amazing, and this touches on the whole philosophy of being at conference, not only did they do that to help Puerto Rico that was totally decimated, but there was a new national marketing director couple that actually was at conference who had just gone national marketing director since the last conference. And even though they lost everything, and most of their business, their customers, lost everything, not only has the company stepped up to help and support them, just like they did with Hurricane Katrina years ago, but those people still made it to conference. And that just goes to show how important it is to go to conference and how important it is to be at conference. And you really get to understand the hardships. All excuses are equal, I suppose, but you get to understand the culture and what goes on with our business. It really, truly is amazing. So for closing, really, you know, the conference was absolutely amazing. Everybody had a fantastic time. And I just hope and pray that each and every one of you, if you've never been to conference, make the effort to get to conference as soon as you possibly can. And if you do, you'll be part of this happy, growing community. Canada's rocking at the moment. Everybody from around the world knows that Canada is rocking. And I thank you for your time and attention. And I'm just going to switch it over now so that we can see everybody's happy, smiley faces. And hopefully we can all give each other a wave. And I'm going to stop the recording, but you can all give a wave if you want. And I'm going to unmute as well. So thanks, everybody. Great to see you.